ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे। रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमू रामाय तस्मै नमः। रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय 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 ॐ नमः शिवाय। ॐ हर हर नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। Hari Om everyone. Hope you all enjoyed that extra hour of sleep today. We had started with the first shloka of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter. We saw a background of Mahabharata. How all these incidents led to the Pandavas and the Kauravas coming together in that battlefield. And it is good to have some background of Mahabharata. What it does is, story of Mahabharata sets a context for the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Before I had a chance to go through a little bit of Mahabharata, first chapter was not as interesting. It just seemed like a bunch of names, and Duryodhana says something, Arjuna says something, and then that is the end of first chapter. But later on, when we go through Mahabharata, we realize that Mahabharata teaches many things for our daily life. Viewed into different stories, there are very subtle messages that are given out through those stories. Every character teaches us something, things that we should do and things that we should not do. So that is the glory of Mahabharata, where some stories we can touch upon, we will, wherever we can. If you see the Kauravas and the Pandavas in a broader picture, the Kauravas show what happens when we succumb to our desires. It is not that Pandavas were perfect. They also had their weaknesses, but they made sure in most situations they don't succumb to those weaknesses. Now and there, whenever they failed, Their saving grace was that they held on to Bhagwan Krishna. Kaivartakah Keshavah. Bhagwan made sure that this devotee who wants to follow dharma, who wants to bring about a change in their life, if they are having trouble in being good, Bhagwan says, I will help you there. So, like this, different aspects of Mahabharata are helpful to dwell upon. By the way, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called as Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the yoga of despondency of Arjuna. You know, the sorrow of Arjuna is what is called as yoga in first chapter. Now, somebody might wonder, I can understand karma yoga. I have also heard something called as Sankhya yoga. I have heard something called as Vibhuti yoga. But what is this Arjuna Vishada yoga? Yoga means to unite. So uniting with Sankhya, the truth is called as Sankhya yoga. Uniting with the spirit of karma is called as Karma yoga. But if you literally apply that to first chapter, uniting with sorrow of Arjuna, that is not, that cannot be the meaning over here. So what does Arjuna Vishada yoga mean? Vishada, sorrow, can become yoga only if it leads us to Bhagavan. Arjuna had sorrow, no doubt, but something interesting happened as a result of that sorrow. And that was, it took him closer to Bhagavan, it made him surrender to Bhagavan and ask him for solution for his sorrow. That is what is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. In the same way, we all go through some sorrow or the other in our life, but the point is, in front of whom do we weep? If it's in front of Bhagavan, then that sorrow itself becomes yoga. Bhagavan will give the strength through his teaching alone to come out of that sorrow. It's a beautiful phrase that we should dwell upon. Arjuna Vishada is called as yoga. But it has a purpose. Why Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji or Madhusudana Saraswati ji, who has named all these chapters, he has given this name for some reason. That if we seek solutions in our life from Bhagavad Gita, then no matter what that problem is, that problem will become a way for entering into spiritual knowledge, entering into the guidance of Bhagwan Krishna. Let us chant the first verse, what we chanted last time. Dhritarashtra uvacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre samavetaayuyutsavah mamakah pandavaschaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra is asking this question to Sanjaya, that in this dharma kshetra called as Kurukshetra, the two armies that have gathered there, one is my army, Mamakaha, my sons, and the sons of Pandu, Pandavaha. What unique thing did they do? Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. I know they have gathered there to fight, but what is the extraordinary thing that happened there? Can you tell me something about it? And then we saw different words, Dharma Kshetre, why it is called like that. Yuyutsavaha also we saw. There were three main incidents which led to this point. When Pandavas came to live with the Kauravas, Duryodhana did not like that intrusion. And second time, when the Pandavas became prosperous, Duryodhana got jealous of their wealth during the Rajasuya Yajna. That was the second seed of jealousy. And third seed of jealousy was later when he falls in that pond of water and everybody laughs. So that grows into such a big hatred in his heart that now he is ready to do anything, Duryodhana, and it reaches to a stage that they need to have a war. So different methods were tried. Sama was tried, discussion was tried, Dana was tried. Yudhishthira says, you keep rest of the kingdom, just give me 5 villages. Yudhishthira is the eldest brother of the 5 Pandavas. Bheda was tried. Bhagwan Krishna goes and tries to show the other side of things. He uses logic. Bheda means using logic. Still, Duryodhana is not ready to listen. Then finally they say, Danda is the only solution where we have to have this war. But it is Dharma Yuddha. It is not for individual sake they are fighting. They are fighting because this is a righteous cause. Sanjaya is the one who is going to narrate now the story to Dhritarashtra. And Sanjaya was the one who was gifted a divine vision by Bhagwan Vedvyasji before Mahabharata or before this war starts. Sanjaya could see things which are happening in the war without physically being there. And he could also see what is happening in the mind of those warriors. That is why he is able to describe very vividly, a perfect picture of what is going on there, like a commentator. When a game is going on, you have a commentator who is just, he's not playing the game, he's just telling you what is happening. In olden days, there used to be that radio commentary for cricket. So you can actually listen to that and paint a picture now, how that shot must have been played. I'm sure it must be here also. Just listening to it, you can create a mental picture of what is going on there. And Sanjaya was very impartial. His name Sanjaya means one who has gained control over sense organs and mind. So he is giving a very impartial description of what has happened in that battlefield. Okay, so this is the question that Dhritarashtra asks. Now Sanjaya starts giving his response. Okay, so we will chant the second shloka. Drishtva tu pandavanikam vyudham duryodhanastada acharyamupasangamya Raja vachanamabravit Drishtva tu pandavanikam vyudham duryodhanastada acharyamupasangamya Raja vachanamabravit. Now Sanjaya says, Drishtva tu pandavanam anikam becomes pandavanikam. Having seen this army, this array of arrangement of Pandava army, how was it arranged? In different vyuhas. Vyuha means a war formation. So every day of the war, the army was arranged in a particular way, a logical sequence of where each commander of the army should be, where all the other chariots, horses, how they should be arranged so that they can counter each other. So different names are there of vyuhas. We won't go into that. But the main idea was, it was a logical arrangement of the army by which they can counter each other. So having seen that, Duryodhana says some words. And this army that is there, right? The vyuha was a dynamic formation. It was not like in the morning of the day, you have one formation, but as and when the army gets depleted, if something goes wrong with the vyuha, they used to change it suddenly. Dynamically they used to change it. And somebody might wonder, how did they change it? Because at that time there was no all the modern technology that is available right now. There was no phone, there was no WhatsApping or anything with the generals, and these armies were in thousands. How were they able to make those formations? There is one shloka which comes later, which says they had different types of conches, drums, and trumpets. And a particular way of blowing those things meant you should be in this formation. I was wondering, those are not for, just background music when the war is going on. That is for some purpose. That the commander can control the entire army based on certain types of playing of those instruments. And even while blowing the conch, every note at which they blew the conch had a different meaning. If you blow it at Rishabha, that means everything is fine. If you blow it at Panchama, means I need some help in facing the army. Like that they had coding for even the pitch at which the conch would be blown. Very systematic. This is an interesting thing just to appreciate in our ancient warfare. Then Duryodhana, having seen such an army, he goes to not Bhishma, who is the chief commander of Kaurava army. He goes to his teacher Dronacharya and says something. Acharyam upasangamya Raja vachanam abravit. Raja, Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra that Raja said some words. Now Sanjay is calling Duryodhana as Raja. Whereas actually the king right now is Dhritarashtra, but he's as though telling Dhritarashtra that all decisions were taken by Duryodhana only. You are just sitting here just as a rubber stamp. Everything that Duryodhana says, you have said yes. So now I'm telling you that same Duryodhana has gone to Dronacharya and he's going to say something now. And Duryodhana was a very diplomat, very good diplomat. He's not going to Bhishma. Bhishma was the eldest in their family and he was appointed as the commander-in-chief of Kaurava army on the first day. He's going there too as though, tell Dronacharya that please be careful, because he knows that Drona and Bhishma, both of them have a soft corner for Pandavas. So he knows Bhishmacharya is so great, he cannot go and speak directly to Bhishma. But Dronacharya, he can go. And he's going and telling him something now. What does he say? That we'll see in the next verse. Pashyaitam Panduputranam Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata Tava Shishyena Dhimata Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. So Duryodhana knows that he has to make Dronacharya happy first, but also invoke in him some anger. Only then he will have this, passion to fight that war. Otherwise, Duryodhana knows that Dronacharya has some soft corner for the Kaurava army, for the Pandava army. Pashyetam Panduputranam. He says, O Dronacharya, O my teacher, look at this Pandu Putra, look at the sons of Pandu, the Pandava army that is gathered here. O Acharya, this is such a big army, Mahatim Chamum. Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. And let me remind you, this army has been arranged by none other than son of Drupada, whose name was Drishtadyumna. Tava Shishyena, he is your disciple only, very intelligent. Now you look at Duryodhana's choice of words. Here he is saying Drupada Putra. Drupada and Dronacharya, they had enmity between them. He says, this is the same, your enemy's son, who has arranged, this entire army. You must have taught him using chessboard. That army arrangement, it is said, in the olden days was taught using different instruments, but the main one was called chaturanga. So what we know as chess today, the origin of that is said to be from India, and the Indian version, the older version of that game, is called as chaturanga. Chaturanga means 4 aspects of an army. So one aspect is foot soldiers, what we call as pawns. Other are elephants, that are there in the army. Second aspect. What we call as the bishop in chess. Then you have horses, the soldiers who are there riding the horses, which is called as a bishop in chess. And the last one is called the chariot. All these 4 aspects. The fourth one, chariot, is called as the knight in chess. So using that chaturanga game, it is said they used to understand what are these war formations, how does different vyuhas are formed. The king has to be protected, but you have attack and you have defense also. So Duryodhana is reminding, O Dronacharya, you had taught this Drishtadyumna using that, board game. Now look at it. The same Drishtadyumna is standing in front of you, and he has arranged an army very intelligently against you only. That word, Drupada Putra, right? What was the story behind Drupada and Drona? Now remember, whom are we talking about? Duryodhana has come to Dronacharya, who is the teacher of Kauravas and Pandavas. Okay, he is just trying to please him and invoke anger in him so that he can be at his best when he fights against the Pandavas. So it is a story that goes back where Drupada, whose name has been taken here, right, son of Drupada, that King Drupada, and Drona, both of them were buddies in Gurukula. Gurukula means a school in olden days where they used to go to study. So both of them were very good friends, and did always, they did everything together, studied together, went to Vedic chanting, brought water from the river, everything they did together. But Drupada belonged to a princely family. He was from the royal family. He was a prince. Whereas Drona, on the other hand, was from Brahmana family and not very good in financial, not very good financially. But both of them were very close friends. On the day of graduation, now both had to go their own way. They hugged each other and they said, oh, dear friend, how do we stay in touch now? So Drupada at that point said, what do you mean stay in touch? We are always together. Whenever you need me, you come to me. I will give you whatever you want. Okay. Whenever you remember me, just come to me. Saying that, Drupada went his way and Drona went his way. Drona was very, very skilled. He had great mastery over archery. But he had Brahmana heart. So he didn't want, a big, greater position and a lot of wealth and so on. So he never bothered to take a position in some kingdom. He was living his life. Drona had a son whose name was Ashwathama. And because of his negligence, you call, or for whatever reason, they went through a lot of financial hardship. So much so that Ashwathama's mother, Drona's wife, used to mix flour in water and give it to Ashwathama as milk. Because they didn't have money even to buy a glass of milk. And one day, Ashwathama goes somewhere, to his uncle's house or somewhere, and then he gets a taste of real milk. So he comes back and says, Mother, what is this real milk? It tastes so different. That is when Drona cannot see, the poverty that he is living in, and he feels that he should do something about it. So at that point, Drona decides to go to Drupada. This is several years after. Both have grown up, both have gotten married. Drona got married. Drupada also became the king. When Drona goes to meet Drupada, the guards look at Drona and ask him, who are you? Dronacharya says, I'm friend of Drupada. I'm going to meet him inside. He says, you and friend of this king. They laugh at Dronacharya. He was, not in a good appearance, all torn clothes and everything. Guards laughing is okay, but when he goes inside, Drupada also refuses to acknowledge Dronacharya. Because it is said power corrupts, right? So when he became the king, he became so arrogant that he didn't feel comfortable recognizing Dronacharya as his friend. He says friendship is only between equals. Do you even know who you are? Dronacharya doesn't like it at that point. He feels very insulted, but he has a very deep seed of revenge which is sown in his heart with that interaction. He says, I will teach this Drupada a lesson. What does he think about himself? And Drona's skill was such, he could have gotten a job wherever he wanted. So he goes straight to Hastinapura. And on the way, he sees Pandavas, who are playing with a ball. And that ball, while playing, falls inside a well. Drona goes and looks at these boys, who are trying to get that ball from a well. They try everything, they put a bucket inside and try this and try that. Nothing is happening. Drona says, come here, I will show you how to take out that ball. From his quiver, he pulls out arrows, shoots at that ball, one arrow, and behind that arrow, he shoots another arrow. Like this, he makes a thread of arrows and pulls out that ball. This was the skill of Dronacharya. We should be reminded that such Dronacharya is standing on the side of Kauravas. Then this message reaches Bhishma, who is the grandfather. He says, can you please come and become the teacher of these students here? My grandchildren, you have a full university. If you want to run, I have 105 of them. 100 Kauravas and 5 Pandavas. You can please go and teach them how to do this warfare. So with that, Dronacharya becomes the teacher of Kauravas and Pandavas. And it is said he was a very, very strict teacher, always very, strict in his gaze, no smile, nothing. And with his jata and all, very strict. When he walks also, very keen eye on what the student is doing. This is how he has trained Arjuna. If you read Mahabharata, the way in which he trains Arjuna, beautiful. After the training is done, Dronacharya has finished, the teaching and everything is done. It's a time to ask for Guru Dakshina. So the students come and say, oh teacher, what do you want? Now Dronacharya says, I want only one thing as Guru Dakshina. Go and capture that Drupada. The one who has insulted me at that time, go and capture him. Don't kill him. Just capture him and bring him to me. Now this is, everybody is excited, 105 of them, because after university, the first job, real job that they're going to do is this. They were Kshatriyas, fighting a battle is something which excites them. So all the 105 are excited, and finally they are able to capture Drupada and bring him here. Dronacharya holds Drupada and says, you wanted friendship between equals, now we are equal. Meaning, I have captured your kingdom, I will give you half of it, keep that half, and now we will be equals. Now this statement that Dronacharya makes sows another seed of revenge in the heart of Drupada. Dronacharya forgets. His anger was temporary because he was a Brahmana. He didn't have that anger as his own quality. But Drupada had that, Kshatriya anger. So when that seed of revenge was sown, Drupada says, I will do a yajna. I will do a sacrifice through which a son will be born who will be responsible for killing this Dronacharya. So Drupada goes back and does a yajna. From that yajna, Drishtadyumna is born. And while this war was going on, Drupada was very impressed with Arjuna. Although Arjuna captured Drupada and brought him to Dronacharya, he was very impressed with the skill of Arjuna. And Drupada said, I also want one daughter who can be given to Arjuna. So in that yajna, Drishtadyumna is born and Draupadi is also born. That is why one of the name of Draupadi is Yajaseni, Yajnaseni. Means one who is born through fire. Drishtadyumna also is born through fire and Draupadi is also born through fire. Why this whole story? It teaches us many things, One of the aspects it teaches us is actions have consequences. That statement Dronacharya utters in front of Drupada, in his mind, he thinks, once I have said that, it's done. End of the matter. Drupada insulted me, I insulted him back, finish. But world doesn't run in that way. The Mahabharata, so many stories teach us that actions have consequences. Revenge can never be an answer to any solution, any situation. So, Dronacharya makes that statement and Drupada does that yajna from which Drishtadyumna is born, who has become now the commander of the Pandava army. So, Duryodhana very sharply is reminding Dronacharya that you see the commander, he is the same son of Drupada. Drupada putrena tava shishyena dhimata. You taught him with that simple, small pieces. And now he alone has stood in front of you to fight against you. So make sure that you have that anger with which, we have to fight against them. Let us not underestimate anybody because they are also intelligent. Having said this, now he says, let me just tell you what is there on the side of Pandava army. Okay, he is giving an account of the soldiers who are there on the side of Pandava army. So now we will chant 4th, 5th and 6th shloka together. Atra shura maheshwasaha, Atra shura maheshwasaha, Bhimarjuna samayudhi, Bhimarjuna samayudhi, Yuyudhano viratascha, Yuyudhano viratascha, Drupadascha maharatha, Drupadascha maharatha, Drishtaketuschekitanaha, Drishtaketuschekitanaha, Kashirajascha viryavan, Kashirajascha viryavan, Purujit kunti bhojascha, Purujit kunti bhojascha, Shaibhyascha narapungavaha, Shaibhyascha narapungavaha, Yudha manyuscha vikranta, Yudha manyuscha vikrantah, Uttamaujascha viryavan, Uttamaujascha viryavan, Saubhadro Draupadeyascha, Saubhadro Draupadeyascha, Sarva eva maharathaha, Sarva eva maharathaha, Atra shura maheshwasaha, Bhimarjuna samayudhi, Yuyudhano viratascha, Drupadascha maharatha, धृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च शैब्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्तः उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः. Now Duryodhana is saying, this army which is there in front, let us not underestimate them. We should fight with our full might. So that is why, let me remind you, let me show you, who are there on the side of Pandavas. One point in the previous shloka, in spite of knowing that this Drishtadyumna has been born to kill Dronacharya, Dronacharya still teaches Drishtadyumna. Right? Tava Shishyena Dhimata, when it is said, Duryodhana is reminding, you had taught him, right? Now he is standing in front of you. This is called as Acharya Dharma. Dronacharya, sometimes character, people misunderstand because of Ekalavya story. They feel he was biased. If he was biased, first of all, he would not have taught Drishtadyumna, knowing that Drishtadyumna is the reason for, going to be the reason for his death. But at that time, Acharya Dharma was so strong, if they have given a word to somebody, they will make sure they stand by it. So when Ekalavya comes, to study, all of you know the story of Ekalavya. I won't go into that story. But just one point there is, Drona had already signed a contract, a defense contract with Bhishma. So he could not give this knowledge to anybody else other than Kauravas and Pandavas. This is the reason behind his statement where he says Ekalavya, he tells Ekalavya that I cannot teach you. Just like in the defense world right now, you might be very good at some kind of skill in the defense. You cannot directly barge into a defense facility and start learning there. There are some prerequisites. So Dronacharya's character is that. Even here when he's teaching Drishtadyumna, we can fathom what kind of Acharya he was. That is why in India the highest award given to a coach is called as Dronacharya Award. Because he followed Acharya Dharma. Irrespective of who the student is, if that student is capable, if he has a qualification, he will go and teach. So now, Duryodhana takes the names of 17 people. From shloka number 4 to 6, there are 17 people he names, leaving aside the Pandavas. And he says all of them are Maharathis or Athirathis. Sarve eva Maharatha, that is the main part he wants to emphasize. Maharathi is the one who can fight with 10,000 archers at the same time. Athirathi is little less, but they are also very, very skilled. Basically, that is the main point he wants to say. That these are not ordinary warriors, they are very powerful people who are there on the side of Pandavas. So let us be alert and let us fight with full strength. Who are the people? He says, Atra Shura Maheshwasaha. Maheshwasa means the one with great bow. Ishwasa means bow. And if it's a very heavy bow, like Arjuna's Gandiva, nobody can even lift it. Forget about stringing the bow and pulling that string. I don't know if you have done that archery that they do here, in some camps and all they do. That bow is like plastic one, you just lift it even with your finger, you can lift it and do a archery shot. But these ones are not like that. He says these are Maheshwasaha. Bhima Arjuna Samayudhi. And all these warriors are as capable as Bhima and Arjuna. Very powerful. Who are they? First one he says is Yuyudhana. Yuyudhana is name of Satyaki, who was the student of Arjuna. He says this Satyaki is a great warrior. Although entire army of Bhagwan Krishna is on this side, on our side, he chose to stay on Pandava's side. It's very interesting. Bhagwan Krishna is on Pandava's side, right? The arrows that are coming towards Bhagwan Krishna are from his own army. At least part of it, Bhagwan's army is fighting from side of Kauravas. I don't know how that war must have been, but something interesting to note. So Yuyudhana means Satyaki. He is there. Virata. Virata was a king where the Pandavas took refuge in that 1 year. Incognito, they spent in Virata kingdom. And Kauravas had fought with this king before of Virata. So he's reminding, do you remember all that astras that this Virata had shot against us? We had gone there to save his cows or steal his cows. That is the reason with which Kauravas had attacked the Virata kingdom. He's reminding Dronacharya of all these things. Drupada, whose name we just discussed, that Drupada is also standing there. Drupadascha Maharatha. Drushtaketu. Drushtaketu is son of Shishupala. The same Shishupala who had insulted Bhagwan Krishna in that court which was there. And Bhagwan Krishna had killed Shishupala and made him one with himself. That part also we should say. Bhagwan is wonderful. Wherever he kills a demon, he gives them moksha. Which kind of moksha? That's a different discussion. Huh? But he makes sure that they have greater destinations. So Drushtaketu is standing there. Drushtaketu's son is called Chekitana. He's called Kekeya Raja. He is also there in front. And then there is the king of Kashi. Kashi Rajascha Viryavan. All of them are very, very powerful people. And there are two of them now who are brothers. Purujit Kunti Bhojascha. Purujit is one and his brother is Kunti Bhoja. The father of Mother Kunti. Both of them are also there. And then there is Shaibya and Narapungava. Narapungava means who is a great warrior. Great amongst all the warriors. This Raja Shaibya is also standing in front. We won't go into story of all of them because this is not the context. So I'm just directly reading out the names. Yudhamanyuscha Vikrantaha. Then there are kings of Panchala, whose name is Yudhamanyu and Vikranta. Uttamaujascha Viryavan. There is Uttamauja, who is also very powerful. And it is said, these were the ones we just read, are the ones who are protecting the wheels of Arjuna's chariot. So Duryodhana is reminding Dronacharya about it. And then who is there? Saubhadro Draupadeyascha, the great Abhimanyu, Saubhadra, son of Subhadra. He is also standing in front. And Abhimanyu, when he is to fight, it is said people could not distinguish whether it was Arjuna fighting or it was Abhimanyu fighting. Okay, I'm holding myself back from going in any story. Draupadeyascha. Draupadeya means the 5 sons of Draupadi. Sarva eva Maharathaha. These 17 of them, whom we just discussed, except for Draupadeyascha, except for those 5 sons, 17 other names, all of them are great warriors. Sarve eva Maharathaha. So then, he is reminding Dronacharya of these things. Now Dronacharya is saying, if you are so afraid of their strength, why don't you go and make a treaty with them? You are the one who is telling me about all these things. Actually, you did not tell me, because I am your teacher. You imagine a student going and telling the teacher what is the strength of opposite army. So Dronacharya had taught Duryodhana. In his mind, he would have said, you don't have to tell me who is in front, I can see for myself. But if you are so afraid, why don't you go and make a treaty with them? So then Duryodhana says, that don't think I'm afraid. I'm actually not. I just want to remind you there are powerful warriors not only on their side, but even on our side, there are a lot of powerful warriors. So that I will tell you next time. Duryodhana says that he goes on to account for who are the ones who are on Kaurava side now that he is introducing. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.